Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a quick preview of what's on the To The Last Drop podcast this week. The podcast that I do with DM.com. This is us giving our preview and our predictions to the Investec Champions Cup fixtures this weekend with some interesting calls there by both of us. So yeah, prediction time. It's a big weekend.
It is, and there are some teams who have lost some ground in the initial weeks of the Champions Cup as well as the Challenge Cup. But there are some high-profile teams, as we alluded to it as well in the Guthrie Steenkamp interview. La Rochelle cannot afford another slip-up. The defending champions, double defending champions, they have their backs to the wall, so they need a positive result.
Yeah, well, let's go through pool by pool. Then it's probably easier. Pool one is the Bulls pool, and over there we start off with an interesting one: unbeaten Bordeaux Begles or Begles. I'm not sure how. I just call them Bordeaux. Play Saracens, which is a very tricky tie on Sunday.
That's a tasty one.
Yeah,
Very tasty one.
Saracens under pressure, big time.
But they're quality side. They've got all this history. They don't mind being with their backs to the wall. I feel though that the pressure they're under at the moment perhaps is a little different from the previous times they have felt the squeeze, and they're up against the side that when they play at home they are very difficult to beat. So and Bordeaux for the last 3 or 4 seasons, they've really advanced their cause in the top 14 as well. I mean, they're not a team that sort of languishes towards the bottom end of the table, or sort of meander in mid-table. They're proper contenders. So I'm going to go with Bordeaux.
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, from a South African point of view, you're probably hoping, and I know it's going to sound a very weird thing to say, but if Bordeaux do beat Saracens, it's probably good for the Bulls because they come to Loftus the next week. And if they've already qualified, chances are the way the French sides work, they probably will send a younger, less experienced team out to Pretoria.
Very good chance of that happening.
Yeah. And that will help the Bulls even better when they qualify. So, yeah, but that's a tasty encounter. Then the other one, on Saturday, Connacht face Lyon. Connacht must win. Lyon are like the Bulls in the mid-table. They won one, lost one. So also spicy. Connacht didn't really do well against Bordeaux. Bordeaux hammered them. So
yeah, if this game was if it was a home game for Connacht, I would have gone with him, no doubt whatsoever. And in fact, I think I might still go with them. I mean, Lyon again, like a bit like Bordeaux as well. I mean, you're not just going to show up there and take the points. But I think Connacht at the moment they've got quite a bit going for them. So I'm going to go with them winning by like 3 or 4 points. Not There'll be much.
I must admit, I still think Lyon's tough to beat at home. I mean, the Bulls did everything right and still couldn't get a win there. So, although I mean, there were a couple of very interesting refereeing calls in that, which tend to happen in these European games. You're going to get used to them. Every time I say something about it, all our sort of colleagues in England and Wales and Scotland keep on saying to me, "But you're new to this. This happens all the time." So I suppose we've got to get used to some of these calls. And then, of course, Bristol playing the Bulls. I think Bristol, they are 8th in the Premiership, but they did beat Sale Sharks last week in Manchester, which is first time Sale have lost there a long time. So I think they will start the Ritz. Looks like a sellout crowd as well for them, and they're a tough side to beat at home when their backs are up. So I reckon the Bulls got their work cut out, and plus, the way the Bulls. The team that they're going to probably take, second string team, you expect them, if they don't do everything perfectly, probably 10 to 15 points.
Yeah, Bristol Bears, big, heavy spenders. Maybe not as much as was the case a couple of years ago, but they have some big name players there. I don't see a way through for the Bulls here. I tend to agree with you. Maybe by say 9 points, maybe 10.
Yeah, I think it's one thing for the Bulls to do it once off against Lyon. I think Bristol's a new place. I think I see it's going to be close to freezing, -2. I think everything counts against the Bulls in terms of that, and they're going to have to be almost perfect to do that. Can they do it? I'm sure they can, but you tend to see that our players don't like playing in those sort of temperatures at times, and Bulls are perennial bad travelers. So, well, it's hoping we're wrong. I'll gladly eat my hat if we're wrong. So, be quite interesting. Then pool two, yeah, big game, huge one. Johan van Kraan's resurgent Bath Rugby, hosting Sia Kolisi's Racing 92. That's a tasty one on Sunday as well.
It is. If it was a home game for the Parisian club, I would have said they would win, but they are not the best travellers. Bath, as you well pointed out there, I mean, they are experiencing a bit of a revival, and it's a popular one because they are a much revered club in England. I believe the home team will win here. I think Bath at home, given their form, I mean, it's they're still a bit up and down, but I think they'll have enough to beat us.
Yeah. Also, I mean, obviously from a South African point of view, there's lots of South Africans in that team as well. Yeah, you hope for their part as well. CS team, of course, if they lose, they're basically out then because they've lost their opening two. So they're not in a good position. They're very desperate. That should be a very interesting one. Also, with the French teams, it'd be interesting to see what team they take to Bath as well. We'll only know on Friday.
Yeah, yeah, it will be. You can probably get a sense then of whether they've given up or not because there's a huge emphasis in France on the top 14. So they tend to pick their battles carefully.
Yeah. Yeah, Toulouse, they're going off to Ulster. That's another nice one on Saturday. It's a huge one.
That's a very, very big one.
Yeah, I mean,
look, I mean, Ulster notoriously difficult to beat at home and in those conditions. It's never the conditions are never friendly. Let's put it that way. So you kind of have to prepare yourself for wet and for the bluster and for a crowd that's on top of you. So, but Toulouse, I mean, they are not the most decorated team in the competition for no reason. So if there's any team that can go there and beat them, it probably is Toulouse. And Ulster have lost at home this season. So they're probably not where they are supposed to be. I'm going to go Toulouse.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's any pack that is going to relish that sort of wind and rain, and that is the close to 1,000-kilogram Toulouse juggernaut. And, I mean, there's some big boys in that pack. They're not going to be scared of that. They'll quite enjoy the old-fashioned sort of rain and stuff. Other game.
But here again, we'll probably have to see how what team they put out.
Yeah, again, same sort of thing. I think we should asterisk all these games with that. Harlequins travel to Cardiff on Saturday. Win would see them through to the next round, and they'd be qualified basically before the time. So Bath, Toulouse, and Harlequins could probably qualify if they all get wins.
Yeah, I'm thinking Harlequins here. I mean, Cardiff, hot and cold at this, a little while back, but then mostly cold the last while. So I'm going to go Harlequins.
Yeah, we're going to go through quickly pool 3 as well. Obviously, both Northampton Saints and Exeter Chiefs have a chance to qualify as well. They got 100% record. Northampton, they host Bayonne, which should be an interesting one again. Which team will the French team send? But I think Northampton probably that one.
Yeah, agree with you.
Exeter host Glasgow Warriors. That's a spicy one. That should be quite interesting.
It's a very intriguing one. I think this game, in many ways, will give you a proper sense of what the English Premiership, the strength of the English Premiership, and then the strength of the URC. Because Exeter, one of the leading clubs, or have become one of the leading clubs in England over the last couple of years. Glasgow Warriors punching, I'm going to say, well above their weight, actually, in many ways in the URC. So it is a very interesting matchup. And as much as I would almost routinely say a home at win at Sandy Park for Chiefs, I'm not so sure. I think Glasgow Warriors are entirely capable of going there and winning. I'm going to go Warriors.
I was going to say, I'm also going to call for the upset just from a purely URC hat on. And I just think there's something, Franco's busy with something special there at Glasgow, and hopefully that'll carry them through. But it is a tough task for them.
And also the playing styles. I mean, it's two teams that usually have a proper crack. So hopefully the conditions allow them to.
Yeah, and then the final game in Pool 3, what would normally be a tasty one, but with the amount of injuries that
Yeah,
Munster
the
have,
two bottom teams.
traveling to Toulon on Saturday. Yeah, tough one. I think Munster just,
Mm,
I mean, they've got something like 44% of their squad is injured at the moment. It's something
mm,
ridiculous. And I see John Klein's the latest one to go down. Yeah,
yeah,
just so real bad injury count for them. They're going to
yeah.
need to stand up and fight, as their anthem says, and they're going to need a brave performance in Toulon, but I can't see them winning there at this stage.
If there is one game that you would want to attend in this round of games, it's probably that one. I mean, I was lucky enough at the World Cup where a group of blokes from Munster sat in a pub next to the Felix Mayor watching the Ireland game. And it was a fantastic experience, a proper rugby bar. And I suppose this weekend, a very similar vibe you will find it in Toulon. As far as the result goes, I think the home team will pull this one through, only because Munster, yeah, they're going to send a team there that probably isn't. They don't have the form, and you probably don't have the personnel.
Yeah, and I think in Pool 4, there is some spicy ones. We start off with Leinster, who can qualify if they win, and they can eliminate Stade Francais at the same time. Yeah,
Mm.
that be very interesting. Games in Dublin, Leinster should be favourites for that. And again,
Mm.
which team would Stade Francais send, given they haven't had the best of European seasons?
I think Leicester, I think, are the
Yeah.
sure bets there.
And I think the other one, DHL Stormers, Cell Sharks, there is a spicy one we'll be watching as well. Lots of
Mm.
South Africans involved. Tough one
That's
for
the
the
interesting
Stormers.
dynamic there, because most of the Saffers would have had I was going to say, certainly a taste of Cape Town. Don't know how many of them would have played at Cape Town Stadium though. But either way, I mean, it's people who are playing familiar territory. So but the Stormers will still have a home ground advantage, but the Sail Sharks will arrive there not feeling as foreign.
Yeah. No, I'd go for the Stormers winning just purely on home ground
Yeah,
advantage. But I think we're going to see a very, very spicy game there, because there's lots of South Africans, lots of rivalries over there, and lots of players with points to prove.
absolutely.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, so no, it's interesting. The other one, La Rochelle, Stade Rochelet, must beat Leicester Tigers to stay in the competition. Leicester Tigers are pretty decent themselves.
Mm.
They'd want the victory as well. A huge game. Andre Pollard probably there for Leicester as well. Jasper Visser, lots of South Africans there to watch as well. But just a fascinating one with the defending champions backs against the wall.
Absolutely. Both teams, I think, have two European Cup wins. So there's, they come with proper pedigree. I think it's that stage of the season where if La Rochelle is going to have a season where they come anywhere close to emulating what they achieved last season, this is the game in which they have to stand up and show that they haven't completely lost the plot. So I expect a massive performance from them. So that's why I'm going to go with them.